I've never fun starry ride that fez someday a boo. And does it say? Never done it. I've never fun starry ride that fez someday a boo. Do you trust me? Say to me, have my life wonderful time in my you should salam father. And does it say? Say to me, have my life wonderful Jasmine. You should salam father. And does it say? I'm going to free the genie.
I ran away, and I am not going back. And I am not going back.
You should.
I ran away, and I am not going back.
Let's make some magic!
Husband, you get on. When did you last? When died. Husband, Jasmine, get on. When died. Husband, you get on. When did you last? When died. Husband, Jasmine, get on. There's this girl. I've never fun starry ride that fez someday a boo. And does it say? It's not time in my life without you. I've never fun starry ride that fez someday a boo. And does it say?
I ran away, and I am not going back. And I am not going back.
You should.
I ran away, and I am not going back. And I am not going back.
Oh my. It's mine. It's death.
Ja, hat jetzt getocket. Der Mettlich. Ja, hat jetzt getocket. Der Mettlich.
It's mine. It's death.
It's all so magical. What are you doing?
Just play along. When died. Husband, you get on. When did you last? When died. Husband, Jasmine, get on. When died. Husband, get on. When did you last? When died. Husband, Jasmine, get on. Say to me, have my life wonderful time in my you should salam.
Yeah, see, I can kind of do that, but not really. Oh. Yes, I was dancing with my titties. Glad to be with you. Welcome to the lineup live on Rumble, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern. I believe we're always adding content and some new announcements to be coming. Hey, the ladies are at it again. We're going to talk about today Supergirl. I don't know if attacking your male audience has ever worked. I do know. No. And we're going to talk, hey, Iran, maybe coming to a close. What do you think? Where do you think we are? I said, hey, let's give this 3 months and then let's evaluate. I believe we're at day 32, so we have some updates and quite, I guess I should say novelly. Is that a word? Novel? Probably not. Professor Jonathan Zimmerman is going to be on the show. I am going to be debating him April 10th at UPenn, right around, I believe it's in Philly. Is it in Philly proper? It's right around Philadelphia. It's an awful place, but he's a nice man. Hey, we've had about 10 professors back out. This is 10 years in the making, 10 schools, and we're going to actually show you some of the communications with professors who agreed to do it, PhDs, Ivy League, and then they laid out their demands, and then they backed out. This is the only guy who was willing to show up. Hopefully we get more who come forward, but let me ask you, why do you think that is? We've always been asking professors at the Change My Minds. That's how it started. We just sort of gave up hope because no one would show up. They were more interested in banning us. We're going to have Zimmerman on to kind of get the lay of the land and tell you guys what to expect. But Iran, Supergirl, Professor Zimmerman, Nice guy, but I will not hesitate. Intro.
Well, kids, here's another story from Dr. Hoffman's Pretty Stories and Funny Pictures book. This one is the story of Augustus, who would not have any soup. Okay? Augustus was a chubby lad. Fat, ruddy cheeks Augustus had. Ooh, that's fat shaming. Well, it gets better. And everybody saw with joy the plump and hearty, healthy boy. See, it's not fat shaming after all. He ate and drank as he was told, and never let his soup get cold. But one day, one cold winter's day, he screamed out, "Take the soup away! Oh, take the nasty soup away! I won't have any soup today." I don't know, something's wrong with the soup, I guess. Next day, now look, the picture shows how lank and lean Augustus grows. Look, see? This could be marketing. Yet though he feels so weak and ill, the fellow cries out still, "Not any soup for me, I say. Oh, take the nasty soup away. I won't have any soup today." Now, this is either some really, really horrible soup or a terribly effective, very marketable weight loss. The third day comes. Oh, what a sin to make himself so pale and thin. Yet, when the soup is put on the table, he screams as loud as he is able, "Not any soup for me, I say. Oh, take the nasty soup away. I won't have any soup today." This is just terrible. Look at him. Now the fourth day is come. He scarcely weighs a sugar plum. He's like a little bit of thread. And on the fifth day, he was dead. So, gallon of milk a day. You kids remember that. Gallon of milk a day.
Click Rumble Premium and join now for $99 annually or $9.99 a month to get the entirely ad-free experience and an ever-expanding roster of content, creators, and free speech. We have a guest, so we have to get through this. Quick question. Which of the Ivy League schools produces the most insufferable subversive communists? You guys comment. Let me know. Because we reached out to all of them. Which one?
Notre Dame.
Oh,
Just kidding.
It's not true.
No.
what's not true? That's not Ivy League? Ouch. Yowza!
Okay.
Whoa!
Poison Ivy League, maybe.
See you after.
You're not doing
No, I'm just going to let Gerald carry this because he loves to pop in and say nothing. So I'm like, yeah, go ahead. What's your point?
I didn't say
you wanted to make this all about Notre Dame on the outside. That was a little jab.
That was actually my fault.
No, but then it's his fault for making it all Notre Dame centric. Like you have to have a follow up.
I didn't have anything.
You got anything to diss the
you should have been like, you didn't go to college, stupid. And
Yes,
I would have been like, that's a
exactly.
good point. I didn't go to
Yeah.
college.
Exactly.
I'm an uneducated swine.
Right. Then you could use your skill set, and he could use his skill set,
Which I
which is
don't have.
harming his knee, and then you could shoot him.
But he would probably win that.
I know.
put you out of
got
your
a
misery.
Business prize. That's why you run this. Captain Morgan, CEO, how are you?
I was better before all that.
Well,
How are you?
it's going to get better because we got to. It's louderwithcrowder.com/tickets, I believe.
Yeah.
Tickets will be available starting noon today for the debate at UPenn. It's not a huge venue, so get those tickets while they last. And, of course, there'll be a screening to make sure that you are not a terrorist.
Some screening.
Yeah.
Hopefully more than some, Gerald.
Some.
I left that to you. Friday, Saturday, April 24th, 25th at Comedy Avenue in Lawton, Oklahoma. Maybe let's make sure they're screening there too. Josh Firestein, how are you?
No screening. Terrorists welcome at my show.
Nice.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I like to bring the enemy to me.
Yeah. Well, the good news is if you welcome terrorists, it's going to be nothing but white conservative males.
It'd be great crowd work.
Yes, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Comedian destroys terrorist. Just fucking awesome.
Comedian bombs.
Just American history ex-hecklers. Means not welcome. What? What are you? I'm up here doing some stuff. All right, before we get to anything else, speaking of universities, researchers at Northwestern University, they designed this prototype robot that can still function. I'm using this term loosely. After taking damage. This is, when people talk about research on campus, they're talking about stuff like this.
It's Bambi.
That's more like Bambi's mom.
Here we're making robots that are made of robots, which is why I call them meta machines. So these robots are made out of modular parts that are themselves robots. And this means that if one part of the body
you can
is
break it with a
damaged or
stick.
lost to injury,
Not even with much
the rest
force.
Of the body is fine. It survives. It continues.
It's weaker than a pinata at a child's party.
So we really wanted to create robots that
has worse
were
direction
more
than a
resilient
Roomba.
and that
Or
could
a
evolve.
lady.
We evolved these robots to move themselves through the world with a little
It's
bit
very
of
graceful.
athleticism. So
A little
more
athleticism?
athletic than any other
That's
modular
athleticism,
robot has
okay.
been on land. More athletic than any other evolved robot has been.
I don't know about that.
Do you think these people? Do you think these people do you think they ever just look up? Like it's like this guy has been at his workbench since 1998 and looked up. He's like, "What's that? What? Chat GPT? When did that happen?" I've been working on the robot that does this all this
I
time.
got these rusty tubes over here.
You have robots now that vacuum, mop, and then empty themselves and hot wash and dry their own mops? Ah, crap. It's almost like my research is irrelevant.
It doesn't even do anything.
It flops.
It doesn't do anything. Other robots, they're like, this is the most revolutionary robot.
Yeah.
Other robots do things.
Yeah, they do stuff.
Some build cars.
Yeah.
Maybe gets there.
Yeah.
Wherever there is.
It's like if you hit this thing with a twig,
Yeah.
it can still flop to the nearest place where it'll also flop.
The thing's totally malfunctioned in an inch of snow. It's done.
Yeah. Like maybe Time Cop can travel back and just like knock that guy out.
Do something. Gosh,
Yeah.
this is stupid.
Hit it with it. The good news is when we have to serve our future robot overlords, and you always have to find, it's like the video game, you always have to find a weak spot.
Yeah.
Lightly tap it with a stick.
Yes.
You'll be aces.
Actually, you could just walk at like a halfway brisk pace
Pretty
away
much.
from it and be fine.
Yes, it doesn't even have guns.
No.
It looks like it has old barrels on it, but it's not even a weapon. It doesn't do anything.
If it had guns, it would just be flopping with a musket. You're
Yeah,
like,
it
why
would
did you
not be
pick
accurate.
Nothing more. By the way, we also know what inspired how the robot moves.
We're making robots.
Oh, okay. Well, now it makes sense.
I don't understand. It was two robots.
Yes, that's for people. You know, this is why it's the universe. If you guys have been tuning, you guys can let the other people know the reference, and they can check out like the 19 other bits that have included. The Toronto mayor. Hey, here's the next thing we want to talk about. So first off, let me ask you: Has there ever been a time where female leads attacking their largely male audience has fared well for the movie? Can you give me a single example? And I get it. Men can be very competitive. They can be very possessive. Sometimes they can be quite exclusive of women. And we know that these masculine problems have always plagued the fan base of Supergirl, because that is the latest film where the lead actress is complaining about what a victim she is. And so if the movie fails, it's actually your fault. It's time for Entertainment Minute. So before I get to the lead actress, Alcock is her, I believe is her last name?
Millie Alcock.
Millie Alcock. Before I get to her comments here to preemptively excuse the likely failure of the film, it's possible. Let's look at the trailer and first just ask yourself, hey, does this seem like it's for me? The lady's going to show you how to do a man's job. She can, more fast than a locomotive, can leap buildings in a single bound and can stick her whole fist in her mouth. It's okay. You're going to see how awful she is as a person, so you won't feel bad about it. At least I will say this. Watching that, I feel like I've seen that film before. At least it looks better than She-Hulk. She shouldn't be collecting disability.
That's another job she could do.
The Hulk.
No, you just make her mad.
Don't,
Otherwise, she's
Walker.
disabled.
What's your disability?
You can expect this kind of content every day live, 11 a.m. I wonder if the professor is tuning in right now. So the lead actress, Alcock, here's the prestige. Word is that this film may not be as successful as people were initially anticipating. I have no idea. Hey, hopefully it's a good film and it does well. But she did say that she expects backlash. Why? Because she's a female superhero. She gave this interview to Vanity Fair. She said, it definitely made me aware that simply existing as a woman in that space is something that people comment on. Hold on a second. Existing as a woman in the space of Supergirl?
We expect that one to be a
I mean, it used to be where they would go, men are sexist. Like, they don't think there should be a female James Bond. And it was absurd. And we kind of went, like, yeah, James Bond could be a black guy. Sure, why not? I mean, I prefer a nice white James Bond. But sure, fine, who cares? Now it's like Supergirl. It's clear that men have a problem with existing as a woman in the space of Supergirl. And she went on to say, we have become very comfortable having this weird ownership of women's bodies. I can't really stop them. I can only be myself. Ownership over women's bodies. So let me get this straight. Men, or by the way, I'm sure plenty of women who are fans of Supergirl, fans of the franchise, fans of the comic series, if they comment, that's tantamount to them thinking they own your body? Like, have you seen how many write-ups there have been about every single male superhero, specifically their workout regimens, what they did to get in shape, the grueling workouts, the diuretics they have to take, the trenbolone that they don't tell you about. And she just, she's an average woman there. Okay, she's Supergirl. It's really what they feel like they own my body. This sounds like someone who is preemptively trying to use the sexism excuse for a film that may not work out that well. There would be no controversy. Same thing with Captain Marvel. Same thing we saw with Star Wars. Same thing with Jennifer Lawrence. We're going to get to all these examples. Of course, Rachel Ziegler. There would be none if you didn't bring it up. Just say, yeah, I'm excited to play Supergirl. And have you ever heard this from a man where how many women talk about Henry Cavill or they compare the different Chris's? Like, it's just amazing how women think they own our bodies. It's tough to exist as a man in this space. It's Supergirl. You're a superhero in this, superheroine. Just play it.
And say, hey, I hope the fans really enjoy it. I had a lot of fun making it. That's what the guys do.
Right.
Don't complain about anything.
She's convoluting it with fans being upset when they replace a man with a woman.
Right.
Right.
Like in a comic book that was a man, like a character that wasn't a man. There was a few shows recently that came out where characters were either made trans, they were either made gay when they weren't, or they were made a woman when they were actually a man. This is Supergirl. She's been around since the 50s. It's a book written by a guy in the 50s.
Yeah. This is just
we expect it.
This is misandry. This person despises men. She's looking for a reason to blame men for something over which they're blameless. Like, men don't, I haven't heard any outrage about this whatsoever until she brought it up. No. These people, those in Hollywood, they don't like you. They can't stand you, and they will use every opportunity to take pot shots. Case in point, let me give you another example. This is something that we've been hearing quite a bit of from women in the entertainment industry. Like, it's really hard being an actress. In Hollywood, it definitely is not a place for women. What? And especially action heroes. Jennifer Lawrence said that prior to the Hunger Games, remember this? There had been no female action leads.
I remember when I was doing Hunger Games, nobody had ever put a woman in the lead of an action movie because it wouldn't work. We were told. Girls and boys can both identify with a male lead, but boys cannot identify with a female lead.
Oh, absolutely.
And it just makes me so happy every single time I see a movie come out that just blows through every single one of those beliefs and proves that it is just a lie to keep certain people out of the movies.
Well, hold on a second. It proves it. You just talked about, before we get to why this is verifiably untrue, you can check all the references. We make them available every single show, and I'm going to rapid fire them. She said, it's harder for boys to relate to a female lead. Well, I actually probably agree with that as far as an action hero, right? Young boys, the reason that they're obsessed with monster trucks and dinosaurs, it's just everything else is more powerful than them. So they are looking to the examples that which is most powerful. That's how young boys think, man, when I get older, I'm going to be big, I'm going to be strong, I won't be picked on. So it's hard for them to relate to women because they know how physically frail they are in comparison to men. But she just said women can relate to male leads. And so clearly that needs to change, and we're now exposing the truth. What truth? You just said what it is. And by the way, Hunger Games had two. You had female, you had male.
Yeah.
As far as no female action leads, okay, let me disabuse you of this. Alien, big one, kind of a big franchise. Ripley in there, Sarah Connor, Terminator 2, Charlie's Angels, Tomb Raider, both the original and the Redux, Resident Evil, Underworld, and even the original Wonder Woman till you ruined it.
Well, she's a guy, so.
Nice. So then they point to this.
How delusional. She had to create her own glass ceiling.
Right.
Probably had men come do it, actually.
Right, exactly right. Can you fix this? I had to get through, but then I broke it. There's kind of drafty.
Do we have any glazers?
Yeah. So they ignore those. And then they want to point to the failures as well, it must just be because of women. That would be like Ryan Reynolds saying, yeah, the Green Lantern was a failure because he's a guy. No, there's Deadpool. There's an example of doing it right, doing it poorly. We just gave you examples of plenty of female action leads who did it right, or at least were accepted, were celebrated. And then there are failures like Captain Marvel, She-Hulk, Snow White, Star Trek, the Ghostbusters female one, the Rings of Power.
Now, Ocean's 8.
You could look at that and say the common denominator, right? The common thread is woman. But we just gave you nearly as many examples of female action leads that were successful. So then let's look. What is the through line with these? Why do you think Captain Marvel, She-Hulk, Snow White, Ghostbusters, Rings of Power? What might suggest that one could have predicted their failures? Oh, that's right. Doing exactly what is happening with Alcock now and Supergirl. It never works out well. Mm-mm. You've preemptively insulted half of your audience. You know, the half that needs to sign your paychecks. And it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what, that if they don't have a grievance, these feminists in Hollywood will make one up. This next one is a new one on me, but I would just want to bring this one to your attention because it's a perfect example. Rachel Ziegler, I know, I've talked about her before. Somehow this one eluded me. She said that it was hard growing up as a Latina, she's Polish mostly, because she only saw Eurocentric actresses promoted and that Latina women just typically didn't get that kind of a spotlight. What?
When I was younger, my approach to beauty was a lot more shaped by what I was witnessing.
Pause. Right. Because the mainstream vision of beauty excludes Latin women. Play.
Big pieces of media. So it was who was on magazine covers, who was in the beauty commercials, who was in movies and was considered like the most beautiful movie star at the time.
Right.
It was definitely very Eurocentric as I was growing up. And being a young Latina, that was hard because not a lot of people looked the way that I did.
No, they looked actually Latina.
Bushy eyebrows like I did. They didn't have dark eyes like I did. So as I've grown up, I've really been able to find it within myself, which is really nice.
You're Vic.
You mean your Polish self? I know, part Colombian, which is basically Spanish. She's mostly European, to be clear. This just the people on the magazines. Okay, right, yeah. We needed to break through this glass ceiling because white men, just to be clear, white American men were holding Latina women down. Sure, you ugly piece of shit. All right, let me give you some examples here. Okay, Jennifer Lopez, Selma Hayek, Rosie Perez, Penelope Cruz, Rosario Dawson, Eva Longoria, Eva Mendes, Jessica Alba, Sofia Vergara, Michelle Rodriguez. What's the other one? Ana de Armas. By the way, I think 6 or 7 of them were rated most beautiful person alive several years. And historically, this isn't even new, by the way. You can go back to Sophia Loren. You can go back to Raquel Welch, Rita Hayworth, Lupe Velez. Also, just what we're talking about objectively. So here's the thing, right? When people go, men, women, the gender wars. No. Truth does matter. Objectively is a legitimate grievance as far as discrimination, that Latina women have been held down because of their ugliness. Well, we just gave you the actresses. It's almost like they're disproportionately represented. Also, 25 Latina women crowned Miss Universe. 25! But here's the other problem, though, too. By the way, in other words, I don't know if you know this, Latina women are pretty much A-okay with almost everybody.
Yeah, statements like that got people, like white guys looking at each other like, hey, were you the one that said that bullshit?
Yeah.
Were you the one that said that? Which one of you said that stupid shit?
Yeah, which one of... Guys, come on. We want more of them. We want more to come out of the woodwork. Have you been to Venezuela? It's like you could just go, you, Miss Universe.
Done.
Okay, it's a far cry from Poughkeepsie.
Here's a nice dress. Learn to sing.
Pick any city in Brazil. Yes, they're going to be hot. But here's the thing, don't go too far. Don't go too far and say that Latina women tend to be beautiful, which is universally agreed upon, because then you're fetishizing them. There are a bunch of articles about this too. There's a bunch of articles about people, because a lot of men out there fetishize. They like Latina women. Correct. Correct. Guilty. I mean, yes. Daisy Fuentes, we talked about that. Daisy Fuentes was one grown up. Eva Mendes was another woman. So Ryan Gosling is okay. There aren't enough Latina women who are represented amongst really the category. The competition is being pretty. That's Miss Universe, and that's being rated most beautiful woman in the world, usually People magazine or one of those. The competition is being pretty. Latina women tend to win a lot. But that's also a problem, because that means that if men prefer Latina women, beautiful thick hair, olive skin, curves, well, that's a problem. It's a fetish. You're fetishizing us, and that could lead to sexual assault as well.
It is a very Latina thing, though. Be like, you don't think I'm pretty? No, stop looking at me.
Right, exactly, kind of. But they like it, because nobody knows what Latinas like more than this white guy. I certainly know more than Ziegler. She's mainly Polish.
I love how she said it was Eurocentric and she's European. Listen, like, why don't they just shut up and earn it? Like, that's how this happens. You want to like push women's rights, whatever that means, forward like a million miles and get more representation? Shut up, earn it, do a great job, and studios will put more movies with you in the lead than otherwise. If you just go out there and it's like a boxer going, I didn't lose because I wasn't as good. It's because he's black and I'm white and it's just racism. It's like, no, he hit you hard and you fell down unconscious.
Also, by the way, the forgotten race that's actually been discriminated against. Asians. Let's just look at like most beautiful person. It's very rarely a South Korean. Yeah. They're not bitching about it. They're just getting stuff done.
Despite Lane's votes.
Can you imagine a Filipino woman watching that interview? Like, what? We've been chasing. We have Spanish names. We were chasing you.
I've been skipped over like 19 times for an average Latina. Granted, she is prettier than me because they have a leg up. Well, in the end, she'll just be fetishized. So, in conclusion, the feminist left, you wonder why men are like, we're just checking out. Now, take this, okay, distill it down, apply it to the dating pool. If you're a guy who shows up and what's your opinion on Supergirl? I don't know. Do you have a problem with it being a woman? Do you realize that there aren't enough Latinas being represented amongst most beautiful people on Earth? Well, I don't know about that. But also, do you know that Latinas face an undue amount, a disproportionate amount of discrimination through fetishization because people find them really hot? You're like, what do we want to do here? You want to split the bill? Is this over?
Yes. I'm done.
You guys let me know. Hey, Latina women there. Do you think you've been disproportionately represented, and do you think that Ziegler is going to correct it? How about Alcock? Have you guys thought that you know what Supergirl really needs is not to be a girl, and she's ruined it for you? You guys let me know, because they need to generate controversies where they don't exist. And then they'll accuse you of creating controversy by responding. This is to help. You don't have to ruin Star Wars. You don't have to ruin Snow White.
Right.
You don't have to ruin Miss Universe. Don't change a thing. Keep the bikini contest. We don't give a shit about your talent show.
I'm sorry you feel so uncomfortable in this space as a woman. So we're going to replace you with a trans woman.
Yes, exactly. We're going to replace you.
This is the one time I'm on board with that.
We're going to, you know what? Let's just play this safe. All right. The next Wonder Woman is going to be a Thai lady boy. Okay. That work? Everyone happy? Fortunately.
I wonder if she's a woman. Sorry.
That is so lazy, Josh.
Is it lazy?
A little bit.
All right, well.
Invisible Jet is just a Harley that she can't ride.
It's like when they do the pony thing.
She's just not working the clutch like Alan Richardson in a fight. Guess Wonder Woman will be, I wonder if I'll be taking the bus. Fortunately for them, A lot of these women, they'll never have to worry about, a mortgage, those in Hollywood, unlike most Americans.
Thank you for calling Too Big to Fail Financing. Your call is important to us. Para Español, marque 5. For English as a second language, press 1. For Old English, press 2. For English with a heavy Indian accent, press 3. For American Sign Language, press 4. For American English, please stay on the line for 4 to 8 hours, and an operator will be with you shortly. We value your service and will respond in the order
what are you doing?
your call was received.
You should just call American Financing.
Yeah, but then I have to lose my spot in line just to call someone else, get a new spot in the back of another line.
Dude, no, listen. When you call them, an actual person will answer the phone, and it'll be a quick and easy process. They're very good at what they do.
Okay, you got the number?
Yeah. Here.
Okay. All right.
Hello.
I got nervous.
Dude, listen. When you call them, just say NMLS 182334.
Huh?
Just trust me. Just call them, say that, you get great service.
I just say that.
Just say that.
NMLS 182334.
Yeah.
And they'll know.
They'll take care of you.
Oh, no, sounds cryptic.
Just don't worry about it.
All right, I trust you.
Hello, American Financing. How can I help you?
NMLS 182334?
What a nerd.
Tim, why would you do that to me?
Call the pros at American Financing today at 1-800-97-46500 or visit americanfinancing.net/Crowder NMLS 182334. If you start today, you may even delay up to 2 mortgage payments.
By the way, a lot of people really have AmericanFinancing.net/Crowder. They saved a lot of money. I have quite a few friends who I was just fortunate enough where they were going through purchasing a house and got a good deal on it.
Is that an AI Indian voice?
I don't know.
No, we hired somebody.
Honestly, if my choice comes down to an H-1B or AI, I am going AI.
Yeah.
So let's get to the next conversation. By the way, thank you very much for the raid. You guys, welcome in. We appreciate it, and we'll be sending you on to the next show as well. We're going to talk about Iran. So let me ask you this: if Iran ended today, the conflict with Iran, or the next couple of days, what would be your verdict? I'm going to go through the pros and cons with kind of where we stand right now, but I've tried to be as consistent as humanly possible with this. I said, hey, you know what? I think that President Trump has earned our trust on this at this point. Everyone was saying World War III or Iraq. Said, hey, we may find out over time that is a comparison, a legitimate comparison, or we may find out that it's not. We brought two examples like Panama, Grenada, to be clear, where we said there are plenty of examples of conflicts that don't go on that long. So I said, you know what? Let's give it 3 months. Give it 3 months, and then we can actually evaluate where we stand. 3 months, and we are still in the countdown. I know you have Iran fatigue. Look, I'm going to stake my claim here. 3 months. Okay? How about that? And right now, we are on day 32. 32. This is one from the outset. I said, my mind can be changed. And you've seen it happen in real time, 11 a.m. Eastern, every weekday. You guys can tune in. So we were told, and this is the standard that we need to use here, because I even was just someone reached out from the Telegraph saying, hey, we'd like to talk about sort of the civil war on the right over Iran. I do not think that this is worth a civil war or people impeaching Donald Trump. And the standard by which we have to judge this is there was one side that was screaming World War III, nuclear fallout, and Iraq as the only comparison.
Worse than Iraq, yeah.
Worse than Iraq. It could be, let's say this ends within the 3 month span. For most conflict, you often have people who are peacekeepers there to help with transition. That's not the same as a quagmire like Iraq over the course of a decade. But Iraq, World War III, or even people compared it to World War II, saying it's going to be worse than World War II. Or it could end up being about as significant as Bosnia, Kosovo. Anyone look back on that and go, that's what destroyed America? We were never able to recover from that. And I know there are differences, and I know that it's not a direct comparison, but I think it's a more apt comparison if this wraps up in the next coming weeks than Iraq or World War III. Is that fair? Is that a fair statement? Whether you agree with it or not, the declaration that this is World War III or exactly like Iraq, if it ends within the next month or 2 months or week, would you compare it more to something like Bosnia, Kosovo, other conflicts that were not forever wars? So President Trump spoke with reporters yesterday, and he said, and I know he kind of goes back and forth, it's part of a negotiating tactic, that we expect to be out of Iran in 2 to 3 weeks.
We knocked out, excuse me?
Pardon me for interrupting. The U.S. will be gone or done with the war in 2
I
or 3
think
weeks?
2 or 3 weeks.
Not 3 weeks. If it is
we'll
3
leave
weeks,
because there's no reason for us to do this. We're negotiating with them right now. They've been, again, we have had regime change. Now, regime change was not one of the things I had as a goal. I had one goal. They will have no nuclear weapon. And that goal has been attained. They will not have nuclear weapons. But we're finishing the job. And I think within maybe 2 weeks, maybe a couple of days longer to do the job. But we want to knock out every single thing they have. Now, it's possible that we'll make a deal before that because we'll hit bridges, and we've hit some. We'll hit some bridges. We've got a couple of nice bridges in mind.
Beautiful bridges.
If they come to the table, that'll be good. But it doesn't matter whether they come or not. We've set them back. It'll take 15 to 20 years for them to rebuild what we've done to them. They have no Navy. They have no military.
Now, I know what some people are saying, and I understand this is a legitimate criticism or conversation. Well, maybe they weren't anywhere close to nuclear capabilities. Okay, the IAEA did not say that. Iran themselves said, and I get that they lie, so you can't take that at the word. But again, that was used to be the predicate for, and this is to enrich the military-industrial complex was one, or this is so that we can have a never-ending war, a forever war for Israel. This is doing the bidding of Israel. We're going to kill everybody. American soldiers are going to be on the ground. Your children will die for Israel. Right? So has that happened? If none of those things happen, and if it's not World War III, and if it's not even comparable to Iraq, would you say, okay, this is a disagreement, but you know what? It was done. They got out. Seems to me that we have a difference of opinion. These used to be the kinds of conversations over which we could have a disagreement. And you didn't go for impeachment or say that Kamala Harris would be the exact same.
Right.
And again, this has been always their stated goal, not just ensuring that they cannot develop a nuclear weapon, but ensuring that they don't get to the point where we wouldn't be able to stop them. Meaning, as they work on nuclear weapons, they would have the ability to protect it, create effectively a protective dome. Once they get past that point of no return, there's nothing we can do. It's just a matter of time. Rubio reiterated this, talking about how that has been the mission. And if they leave, then that would mean that they were telling the truth. Otherwise, what would be the incentive? Here he is.
Many Americans are asking, why did the United States have to attack Iran now? Well, let me explain. Iran wants to have nuclear weapons. Of that, there is zero doubt. If what they truly wanted, which is what they claim, is nuclear energy, well, they could have nuclear energy like all the other countries in the world have it. And that is you import the fuel and you build reactors above ground. That's not what Iran has done. They build their reactors and their facilities deep in mountains, away from the public glare. And they want to enrich that material. The same equipment that they could use to enrich material for energy, they could use to quickly enrich it to weapons grade. We were on the verge of an Iran that had so many missiles and so many drones that no one could do anything about their nuclear weapons program in the future. That was an intolerable risk. Under no circumstances can a country run by radical Shia clerics with an apocalyptic vision of the future ever possess nuclear weapons. This was our last best chance to eliminate that conventional threat, that conventional shield that they were trying to build. And the president made the right decision to wipe it out now. That is the goal of this operation, to destroy their conventional missiles and their drone program so they can't hide behind it and finally have to deal with the world seriously about never, ever having nuclear weapons.
And I know what people are going to say. Well, why can't they fix all the problems at home? Did you guys just see the judge who ordered that 900,000 illegal aliens have to be reinstated through the CBP-1 app? It's very difficult to do things domestically. I know this is crazy. It's easier to bomb a terrorist regime than it is to actively get enough of a coalition to deport all illegals in this country. It shouldn't be that way.
Now you're just going to hurt the terrorist feelings.
Right. That's true. That's true. And you know what? I'm okay with it. So according to intel reports, if this is a forever war, well, about 2/3 of Iran's missiles are either destroyed, damaged, or buried, meaning they're not usable. About 2/3. About half of Iran's 60%, enriched uranium, well past the 20% sort of point of no return, still buried. That's a problem. Their air defense, 80% destroyed. Their Navy, about 92% of their large vessels destroyed. And this is where this is interesting to me. I don't think communication has been great, but I also understand there's information that I can't know as it relates to war and national security. You saw these European allies say, we will not get involved. Even say, we actually now, our agreement to allow the United States to set up shop, we're not going to allow that to take place anymore. While it was catastrophic for those in Europe, far more than us, for the Strait of Hormuz to be closed. So with this now, Donald Trump is able to go, okay, Navy's gone, their Air Force is gone, most of their missiles are gone. They're at this point, we've castrated them effectively. You didn't want to, you guys take care of it. You guys now, you're an ally, start upholding your end of the bargain. There's some value there. There's some real exposure, along with these conversations we've had regarding NATO. So the Strait of Hormuz, let's talk about that. President Trump specifically addressed what is going on there, and I believe we have a clip.
Problem with the Strait, a guy can take a mine, drop it in the water, and say, oh, it's unsafe. It's not like you're taking out an army or you're taking out a country or he can drop it. Or you can take a machine gun from the shore and shoot a few bullets at a ship. Or maybe an over-the-shoulder missile, small missiles. That's not for us. That'll be for France. That'll be for whoever's using the Strait. But I think when we leave, probably that's all cleared up. Today I heard tremendous numbers of ships were sailing through.
From what we're seeing, there are more ships going through right now. We don't know exactly why or how many. He reiterated that on Truth. This is something that, if you guys know, Donald Trump has talked about how the international coalition, they've really just sort of been allowing us to bear the burden. And that can't happen anymore. He wrote, all of those countries that can't get jet fuel because the Strait of Hormuz, like the United Kingdom, which refused to get involved in the decapitation of Iran, I have a suggestion for you. Number one, buy from the U.S. We have plenty. And number two, build up some delayed courage, go to the Strait, and just take it. You'll have to start learning how to fight for yourself. The USA won't be there to help you anymore, just like you weren't there for us. Oh, the shoe's on the other foot. Iran has essentially been decimated. The hard part is done. Go get your own oil, President DJT. Also, it looks like the UK has answered the call by sending in the Royal Navy to the Strait.
Oh, man.
I don't even recognize you anymore.
Wow. No, just really quickly, so it goes into one of their other leverage points was the Strait of Hormuz. If they ever got pushed too far, a deal wasn't going the way they wanted to, they could absolutely shut off the world's oil supply through the Strait of Hormuz. This takes that out. Why do you think we went after 92% of their large boat Navy?
Right.
Why do you think we did that?
Right. Look,
it's part of the plan.
You may disagree with it, and I understand that, but the comparison I keep wanting to bring us back was Iraq and World War III. Gas prices went up to $4 a gallon. Terrible. Highest since 2022. Could drop back in a month. But let's compare that to Europe. It's so bad there that their governments essentially told their citizens not to travel. And they also tried to enact, this is what they said, voluntary demand-saving measures with particular attention to the transport sector. 40% of Europe's diesel jet fuel comes through that strait. So while it's been very inconvenient for the United States, I'm not happy about gas prices either. That's why I think we need an exit strategy. It is catastrophic for Europe, who refused to get involved. And I understand, well, they wouldn't have been put in this situation if the United States didn't do it. It was a matter of time, guys.
Yes.
It was a matter of time. Just like it was a matter of time until those in Europe had a problem with Russia and wanted to fund the other side of the war by supporting Ukraine while still purchasing their energy from Russia.
Did we not just learn that their missiles were capable of hitting most of Europe?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
You're welcome.
So let's go through. What would we be looking at if the war ended today, tomorrow, this week? Okay. Here are the sort of the pros. Their missile shield, their nuclear program set back to the point where if they decide to act up again, we could just drop a few airstrikes and set them back again. So that's a good thing. They're definitely not anywhere near as much of a threat. And I know many people believe that they're not a threat, but okay. The credibility from the United States as far as our threat to act, now they believe it. Remember, we were talking with Iran, talking. They killed many, many, many Americans on multiple occasions. And we said, we're not going to do this. And instead, what ended up happening was we unfroze billions of dollars. We actually handed them $1 billion in cash when you look at the Obama administration. And now we've said, no, you know what? We're not going to go along with you anymore. We're just going to kill a lot of you. This also places the onus on our allies who've relied on the United States. Hey, you are the guys who need this energy. Guess what? You guys need to protect it. Or you can start buying from us. Isn't that crazy that I just said that phrase out loud? Isn't it nuts when you think about it that these European nations are getting energy from Russia, from a strait that's controlled by Iran, instead of just, hey, displace it, recalibrate, purchase it from the United States? Not only are you not supporting us, not only are you not paying your fair share with NATO, not only are you not linking arms militarily, but you won't even support this nation financially for something that you already need and are buying anyway. That, to me, is pretty important. Exposes allies and puts them in the hot seat. Yeah. There are definitely cons. It's unpopular politically. This definitely won't bode well for the midterms, especially when people are saying that no matter what, they will try and convince you that this was a forever war and somehow it just didn't work out. It was going to be World War III. It was Iraq. You still have people who believe that. Of course, we've had some U.S. service members killed. That's terrible. It's always a tragedy. We've had some instability as far as energy prices. That's terrible. The biggest con, I would say, is the depletion. And Lane and I were talking about this morning of high-end offensive and defensive weapon systems. So if there's some other major conflict that takes place right now, we could be caught with our pants down, depending on the scenario. All the more reason for Europe to step up. Hey, we're going to be out of pocket for a while, Europe, so you might have to handle yourself. We're setting our email to auto-respond out of office.
Defend yourself.
Yeah. So that's where we are.
Yeah.
And like I said, 3 months, give it 3 months. Is that reasonable? And do you leave room for, if 3 months from the start of this conflict, we're pretty much out and the goals, the missions that this administration stated are mostly accomplished and we're not in a forever war, do you leave room to acknowledge that, okay, maybe not Iraq, maybe not World War III?
What I want them to acknowledge is maybe I was wrong again. Maybe Donald Trump, President of the United States, deserves a little bit of, I don't know, the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
From his past statements, from his past actions, from his track record in dealing with these crimes. Maybe he knows a little bit more than you. Maybe he's better at doing this than you are. And not everything is World War III. And by the way, we're going to hold you to what you said. Don't pivot and say, well, it's bad for us in the region now. I know you said that might happen, but you said troops on the ground. You said worse than Iraq. So just remember that.
Would we?
And hold us. 3 months. Hold us.
What would be a more? What do we think would be a more valid comparison? I would say, like Bosnia and Kosovo, because that's kind of something that I was obviously really young, but it was largely airstrikes, and then we had people on the ground, and there were some fights, but it was mainly rebuilding right at that point.
Peacekeeping.
Yeah, peacekeeping. I think that would be more comparable to this current Iran conflict than Iraq, if you're going to pick one. And does anyone say that was reason for impeachment and that's what destroyed the United States? The primary difference is that Iran is more of a threat globally than what we were dealing with there. But I think it's more apples to apples. And I know that people say collect $7,000 from the Jews, even though I was told that to collect $7,000 from the Jews was because we'd have American blood in the soil of Iran and it would be a forever war. So I don't really know how I'm going to get that Jew money, but, let them know to give me a call. We might be, by the way, running out of some pretty critical munitions, but that doesn't mean your portfolio has to run out of some of your assets. So go to lwcgold.com, see if you've qualified for a no fees for life IRA. Thanks to True Gold, it's gone up about 77% over the last year. I'm not saying only buy gold.
No, but the news of this stuff right now is pushing everything higher.
Yeah.
So gold included. So check it out. Trump tends to do pretty well in these situations. I think he's speaking tonight at 9.
I believe he is.
As well to address the nation. So it could be pretty big news on this. Hopefully, we'll see.
Speaking at 9 tonight, and I will be speaking, actually, a debate. So Change My Mind started 2016. Maybe the first one broadcast was 2017. I think we did a test run or two. When we started it, I always wanted to sit down with professors. Hoped for it, reached out, never took place. To the point where we just sort of gave up hope. I guess we'll just have to do this on random streets in downtowns or with students. Sometimes we would do it with, professionals. It ended up morphing into black and white and the gray issues. But April 10th at UPenn, I will be, having hosting. Actually, I'm not hosting. We have a separate moderator.
There you go. Yeah.
They pick the school, they pick the moderator, they pick the terms, and we will actually have a debate, a discussion. So easy a student can do it. April 10th, UPenn, 7 p.m. Eastern. Change my mind. It's the next chapter. Hey, YouTube, what you're about to watch is a new segment we call Change My Mind.
Open campus, a college campus.
Sure, it's an open campus.
We can actually do whatever we want.
You can do whatever you want. You can protest. Any professor, you pick.
Any professor.
Yeah. And you know, or set up a dialogue how you think it would be best or most fair. Forgive me, or your sources. What do you usually read?
CNN.
CNN.
Twitter.
CNN, Twitter, and a lot of professors probably here.
Probably.
I think you're somewhat parroting from what you've learned from your professors. So I don't think.
I would agree with you there.
Data from CNN and Twitter and professors is wrong.
Liberal professors and students, you've seen it, they start yelling. Yep.
What statistics are you reading?
The statistics of, according to the FBI.
10% of women and 12% of men are raped on college campuses.
Incorrect. We don't have any professors willing to debate. If you know professors here to be willing to, we would be more than happy.
Honestly, no, I don't.
You've been failed as students. You've been failed. It's time to go straight to the top to the people who failed you. When we started Change My Mind, the idea was back in 2016. The more I went on campus, the more I saw the failures of the institutions. And I want to be really clear about something. This was never designed to mock, denigrate, or dunk on students who don't know any better. It was always designed to highlight the failures of the institutions. We're actually going to be starting formal debates with professors at schools, or we can have a civil dialogue and maybe get to the root cause as to why you've been failed as students.
Free speech and why you should give a damn, Jonathan Zimmerman. Why should we give a damn?
Well, we should give a damn because free speech has been at the heart of every movement for change in this country.
Racial and gender and sexual and
contemporary perspectives. Sex education, I discovered it was precisely the opposite.
That's right. Starting noon today, loudwithcrowder.com/tickets. We'll be taking some questions from the audience. So just to give you some backstory here, 10 schools we reached out to. I believe eight Ivy League. This is 10 years in the making. 10 years we've been trying, and it's been a no-no, where we decided we're really going to be aggressive to try and get this done, because a lot of students would ask us, why won't you come in and have these conversations with professors? Believe me, we've tried. And in this case, we named it publicly, 10 schools. There were 2 who said, yeah, I think so, at Berkeley, and then they dropped out. And then we had 1 at Harvard with a professor. We thought, oh, okay, great. And then they listed their terms, which are so absurd that you understand this wasn't done in good faith. In the end, we ended up with only 1 professor at UPenn, Jonathan Zimmerman, who was very gracious, accepted it, the only one with the balls to show up. But I'm going to actually show you the terms, the kinds of conversations that had taken place with other professors, so you understand just how much they have tried to avoid and control dialogue. But 1 did accept.
Millions of teachers, professors you see, millions of teachers who will debate Stephen C.
All right, here are the conditions 1 professor at Harvard demanded. I'm going to read these to you. And we've tried to remove any identifying information because lawyers. So they wrote this. They would agree to do it. By the way, your school, you pick the moderator. We've offered suggestions as far as terms, but you guys can actually pick them. Agreed? And then some caveats. Prior to posting or distributing the debate recording, Crowder's team shall provide the participant, meaning the professor, and their designated team with copies of debate recording for review and approval. The Crowder team will not post or distribute debate recording without the participant's prior written approval. I guess the concept of live was lost on them.
Yeah, a little bit.
At any time after approving debate recording or other event media, the participant, meaning professor, objects to the continued use or distribution of such content, the participant may notify the Crowder team in writing, specifying the content and the basis for the objection. Upon receipt of such notice, the Crowder team shall promptly remove the specified content from all platforms under its control within 2 business days. provided the objection is made in good faith. Hey, Harvard professor, can you fuck off enough? No, to all of it. But this is exactly the kind of teaching that we see with kids. Remember, regretful P&V?
Yes.
As far as sex, it's rape if you regret it. This person, this professor, teaching kids at an Ivy League, wanted to retroactively remove consent as a term from a live broadcast. What this tells me is that these professors, with the exception of Zimmerman, and I give my hats off to him, all the respect in the world, this professor is trying to get away with exactly what they have always gotten away with.
Yeah.
Anyone here want to argue that that makes sense? Do you think this person isn't controlling this kind of conversation in the classroom, on campus? I can tell you they are, because we've been banned from campuses, from people precisely like that.
Yeah. Welcome to the real world. You can't afterwards go, hey, I looked bad.
Right.
And therefore, I want to remove consent. Just really quickly, I want to clarify, the tickets are this afternoon. They will be available.
That's what I said.
You said noon, so I want to make sure people don't go at noon and look. This afternoon. Sorry.
Afternoon.
Thank you for disrupting my
reminder,
flow.
it's the Annenberg Center for Performing Arts in Philadelphia.
All right. No, back to what I was talking about.
Lawyers contact me, so.
I get it. Got a lot of vowels in their last name.
I know.
So this professor doesn't live in the real world. Just this is kind of the disconnect that hopefully we can address. Imagine anyone who's not a professor or in higher education making these kinds of wild demands in the real world, in actual business dealing.
Hey, Gerald.
Yeah.
I took a couple days. I went over everything, I thought about it, and I know what I want to demand for my new contract. All right, shoot. Well, besides all the financial things, I think we're on good terms there. I also want your office.
You want to switch offices?
That's not what I said. I want your office.
You want your office and my office, Josh?
Yes. Oh, and the ability to control your mic more live on the show. And add sound bites whenever I do this.
Okay, listen, Josh, like I'm a reasonable guy, right? But I don't think this is going to work out.
Wow, art of the deal. That's a pretty good deal, actually.
No, that is not what we agreed to. You do not have control of my mic.
Yes, Gerald, that's exactly what we agreed to.
No, it is Josh.
Yeah, no, Gerald, actually it does. It looks like he actually does have control of your mic.
Watch this.
Hey, I've been with men, and I am not ashamed of that at all.
Straight from the horse's mouth.
I'm sorry, Gerald. Here you go. I'll take it off.
Yeah.
I'll do this.
Thank you.
I also have the ability to shock him whenever I want.
That's great. I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. Save that, and you know what, Toolman, save that as a preset so you can get in some of that action, some of the shocking Gerald action.
I'm way ahead of you.
All right, this is great. I like this. It feels like Ivy League in here.
He almost cursed.
We do, though, have a guest to get to, and everyone we want, of course, welcome him because he has made this possible. The only one. The debate is going to be April 10th, maybe more of a conversation, 7 p.m. at the Annenberg Center for the Performing Arts, UPenn, louderwithcrowder.com/tickets. Starting this afternoon, please welcome Professor Jonathan Zimmerman. Oh. Sorry, Professor, there was a stinger playing a silly horse shit before you came on. Welcome, sir. Can you see us and hear us?
Yes. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being on. I'll keep it because I know we'll be there for an hour and a half, so I won't keep this going on for too long. But I just want people to know you are a professor of history of education, UPenn graduate, School of Education. You've written quite a few books, including Who's America? Culture Wars in the Public Schools, Too Hot to Handle, A Global History of Sex Education, The Case for Contention, Teaching Controversial Issues in American Schools, Campus Politics, What Everyone Needs to Know, Free Speech, and Why You Should Give a Damn. I mean, so many books. Let me ask you, why do you think you're the only one who said yes?
Well, look, I can't speak for any of my colleagues who said no. All I can tell you is why I said yes, right? And the reason I said yes is because I believe in dialogue across difference. Steve, I'm a liberal Democrat.
I know.
And I know that you are not.
That's true.
And that's precisely why we should talk to each other, because that's how I think people learn.
Right.
I generally don't learn from people I agree with. I learn from people I disagree with.
Yeah.
And I think that especially right now with the country so polarized, it's important for people that have different points of view to converse with each other.
Yeah, no, I think that's a healthy perspective. I don't learn that much from people who agree with me, but but it makes me feel big, like I can hurt the little man. So I like having yes men around me. Well, let me ask you, the problem is I'm reading these books, I'm like, yeah, sure, I agree with it. So I know some people will be asking, well, why are you having this? It doesn't sound like it'll be much of a debate. And I think we both agree that freedom of speech, I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, is paramount, is very important. And like you said, we're very polarized as a nation. I think maybe where we'll find disagreement, hopefully in offering solutions, is maybe the root cause of it or where we think we should move forward. Does that seem like how it's going to go?
Yes, and I agree with that. And on the second point, Steve, one place where we may disagree, and note I said may because I'm not sure, is my own claim that the Trump administration is now restricting free speech in all kinds of harmful ways. I don't debate, or I should say, I don't doubt your central premise that universities have done a very poor job of both defining and protecting free speech, and they've often been in the place of censoring it. So we agree on that. But we both had moms, and I believe our moms taught us that two wrongs don't make a right. And I believe that the Trump administration has forgotten that and is now engaging in its own forms of censorship.
Yeah, and I know that is a perspective that someone who is obviously leans more left. And again, I never want to but you said you're a classical liberal Democrat. Yeah, I think that'll be a healthy disagreement to have, and we can get into that. My mom did, but she's French Canadian, so she wasn't able to say it. She would just, two wrong, three, you're going to go the wrong way. I'd say, okay, Mom, I think I get it. But yeah, so and I don't want you to tip your hand or anything like that. Obviously, would you mind for the audience maybe listing some examples of where you think two wrongs, the Trump administration really clamping down on freedom of speech?
Well, I mean, these executive orders about how schools can't teach this thing called critical race theory, this thing called gender theory, whatever those are, because of course the order doesn't define them. I think that's a terrifying prospect. I can see all kinds of reasons to object to critical race theory, but I can't see a reason for an administration, which, by the way, has said that schooling should be a state and local concern, to issue a White House order clamping down on that kind of expression. That just seems completely hypocritical to me.
Okay.
No matter what you think about critical race theory.
Yeah, I think it's silly. But I also understand your perspective. I think that silly ideas should be allowed to be expressed. So I agree with that. I think the context, there'll be a lot of contextual dialogue regarding freedom of speech, where we're discussing the government or we're discussing businesses who maybe perhaps have relationships with the government where those lines get blurred. But I agree. I definitely don't want to see it, though. I think that many people on your campus would think that I'm just like a hair shy of supporting a religious oligarchy. It's not true, but it kind of is.
Well, look, again, I can't speak for them. I think that, there's also been some misrepresentation about the political atmosphere and sentiments on campuses. I think if you watch certain shows, I'm not going to say which ones, you might imagine that, it's just all these flaming Marxists. And that is not true. It is true that professors lean left, absolutely, but they lean left in like voting for Bernie or Obama. That's different from being a Marxist. By the way, there are Marxists on campus,
yes.
Okay, but they are a minority.
Yeah.
So this idea that we're all these kind of crazy radicals is just false. What we are liberal Democrats, which is different from being a crazy radical.
Well, okay, and I think I agree with you on some of those premises and disagree on some, which is, again, we need people to actually show up so they can hear. And I'll just, but just listen, if it comes down the line, it's you or me, I will not hesitate. The problem is these always end up being friendly. Like, there was kind of a debate, but you guys actually were productive. People now look for the clickbait. And that's one thing we don't do here. We provide all of our references.
Well, look, I mean, yes.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Steve, I think one other place, just to show my hand, one other place we may disagree is about Trump himself and his behavior. And let me just show my cards here. I am a deep opponent of President Trump, but not because of his policy positions, because I think most of those policy positions are arguable. And when I say arguable, I mean reasonable people can disagree about them.
Yeah.
I think a border wall is a silly idea, but I don't think everybody who wants a border wall is silly. If you think about something like tariffs, we've been arguing about tariffs since Alexander Hamilton. So my distaste, my loathing for Trump has actually nothing to do with his policy positions. It has to do with the way he flouts the norms of civic dialogue that you were referring to earlier. That's what I object to about Trump. He is the president of the country, and almost every day he does or says something that I believe flouts the norms we need to converse with each other.
Yeah.
That's why I object to him.
I think I think a lot of people hold that position. I think that the norms that we've seen on campus, I mean, you see this from a professor, I think they're at least equally corrosive. Because I don't think that the norm should be people intimidating the
I agree with that. I mean, here's the bottom line. I agree with you, right? He calls people morons, dummies, low IQ, and we call people transphobes and homophobes and misogynists, right? But it's the same in the sense that it's the substitution of name calling for argument. But again, two wrongs don't make a right. Just because we've used silly slurs to clamp down on free speech doesn't mean we should against the president of the United States doing it. And by the way, he is the president, and that matters too. Like, I'm not the president, right? He is. He's the leader of the nation.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with you on that. And I also, I've had my hands full with some of those on the right now, where you're discussing, for example, Iran. I think that there are reasonable positions to be held on both sides of that. To me, we've reached a point when you talk about polarization, like, I don't know if you were watching earlier, I said, hey, when it started, I said, give it 3 months. Because everyone was saying World War III, everyone was saying Iraq. I'm like, Iraq isn't the only comparison. I said, my perspective is there's information I can't know. As it relates to national security, by the way, we would both have to acknowledge that. They can't tip their hand with war. I said, after 3 months, then we can determine if it's a forever war and if it's impeachment worthy. That's all. And I think that there are reasonable people on both sides. But people saying we are at a nuclear holocaust, it is going to be Iraq, that gets the clicks. And so I really do appreciate you accepting. It's it'll be a debate, but I think it'll be productive and respectful. And I wish there were more of you out there.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah. And by the way, screw you.
Yes, absolutely. Screw you. And you're a piece of shit. By the way, where can people buy said piece of shit's books? Where can they go buy your books?
Jeff Bezos sells them, obviously.
Okay.
Right? And most Barnes and Nobles do. Yeah.
All right. There you go. That is Zimmerman, Professor Zimmerman, the face that Candace Owens sees in her nightmares. Thank you very much. We will see you soon when I get to UPenn. Appreciate it,
Thank
Professor.
you.
All right, we are going to continue. By the way, while we're discussing this, a mural, Providence, Rhode Island. Arena Zarutska, taken down. That's a story that's kind of been on social media, but I don't know that it's been covered at all in mainstream media. I wonder if it's being discussed in academia. So we are going to cover it. If you are not yet a member, by the way, your membership supports all the Change My Minds. Your membership is what allows us to do these professor debates. We've actually put up $10,000 for the professor to accept, and it goes, I believe, to the department of their choice. You can talk about that because of the lawyers. That's what it takes, and every dollar that comes from you goes directly to these kinds of dialogues, this kind of content. You can click there below, click that button, $99 a year. You also get 100% more show, everything ad-free. It's the best deal in right-leaning or freedom-centric content, or try it for $9 a month. That'll help us get a return flight from UPenn. If not, continue. You're going to go watch Haley Coronia, who's coming up next. And let's really quickly. Oh, wait, that's right. I forgot. There was more to that office.
Yeah.